This is WOWK, the home of 13 News, where weather comes first. Here's your Storm Tracker first forecast with Chief Meteorologist Spencer Adkins.
Hi, everybody. Well, the rain came down very briefly in Charleston, and I wouldn't say it gave anybody a real break, but it's just enough to make people tap on the brakes a little bit. But I got news for you. More downpours are being seen, and we have something like 5 warnings on the big board right now, so let's jump to them. And we have some flooding ongoing in eastern Kentucky and some severe thunderstorm warnings due to these big storms that have kind of come into a couple of clusters of storms, if you will. Both of those groups of storms have severe thunderstorm warnings in eastern Kentucky, as you can see, kind of centered around Moorhead and to the south of there. And then the cell around Charleston just kind of popped and rained itself out. Also some flooding issues again. In the blue counties, you can see the yellow boxes, so that's Greenup, Carter, portions of Boyd, severe thunderstorm warning. Also, again, a portion of Elliott, Magoffin, and Johnson counties with severe thunderstorm warnings until 5:45. Then we have the heat advisories and heat warnings out, and it's in the low 90s, but it feels like 106 in Huntington, 100 in Charleston, 109 in Columbus, 75 tonight with randomly placed heavy storms. And Scott, some city street flooding not out of the question when they roll.
Well, thank you, Spencer. Look forward to your full storm tracker forecast coming up. Hey, hot is the best way to describe this week. Here's what you need to know. The heat index has been above 100 for the past 3 days, but the record for Charleston is 106 degrees, set back in 1934, before my time. Add in the humidity, and it was a really uncomfortable day. And as the hot weather continues, so does the search for relief. 13 News reporter Chrissy Clutter is live at the levee with some ideas on how to stay cool. Chrissy, how are people at the levee planning to cope tonight with all this hot weather?
Well, Scott, no one here yet, but the boulevard will close at 5:30, and that's when people are going to head in the shade, and they can do that this year because they've now built the awning right behind me at Haddad Riverfront Park. There will also be EMS on hand in case of any emergencies. And the reason we know that's important and why this situation is so serious is because 24 lives have already been lost because of heat-related illnesses. But tonight, they're hoping things will cool down a bit. We are expecting some showers, so hopefully that will clear up and things will cool down and everyone can have a good time here at Live on the Levee. Tonight, if you do head down to the levee, you're going to be in store for some old-style country folk music. Honky-tonk music is what they call it, as John Lilly and the Poorhouse Band and Mark IV are going to take the stage at 6:30. So, Scott, what you're going to want to do is, after the 6th, grab a jug of water, some sunscreen, and head on down.
Sounds good, Chrissy. I'll bring my foot stomping shoes too. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Hey, we've been talking heat for the past couple of days, but I found a guy who's actually been living it for the past couple of days. Bart Custer is a mail carrier on the west side, and no matter how hot it gets, he's still out there getting the mail to you. Now, we've all heard the postal carrier's unofficial motto: neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night shall keep these couriers from their appointed rounds. Emphasis on heat. Take a look.
You just move along, try to get done.
Living up to that motto, Custer is getting it done. But on weeks like these where the mercury is pushing 100, it isn't easy.
I find shade whenever I can. If I feel like I need to sit down, I sit down. And it's, you know, your body knows when you need to rest a little bit.
Custer says it seems to get a little hotter after lunch, and things seem to slow down then too.
You know, you sit down for about 30 minutes and try to eat. You try to eat, and then after that, it's pretty rough because I think the heat of the day is mostly in the afternoons.
For Custer and the rest of the mail carriers, it's just about being prepared and smart.
You know, we got to do what we got to do. You got to drink a lot of fluids, and it's best to hydrate the night before, and then when you come in the morning, keep drinking water, and when you get on your route, keep drinking water. You have to keep a sweat towel with you and get through the day.
I'm fine. Now yours is not.
That's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. Now, farmers have thousands of dollars invested in their operations, so there may be the temptation to overdo it when it comes to protecting them in these extreme temperatures. Now, Winsford Taylor takes care of 48 horses at Taylor Made Farms in Hurricane. He has fans blowing on every horse in the stable and a big fan at the entrance. He's also investing in a misting fan. Taylor says he knows his limits and the horse's limits, even in this heat wave.
We can come out early of the mornings, and we've been doing that, or wait till late at night. We've been doing that, you know, to work some of the horses or ride them, whatever you want to call it.
Taylor says the hot weather has affected riding lessons. 2 times this year he has canceled lessons because it's just too darn hot for the horses and the students to be outside. And in today's web poll, we're asking, how do you keep your parked car cooler in the hot weather? To vote, just log on to our website, WOWKTV.com, and we're going to have results tonight on 13 News at 11. A fight Tuesday night on Charleston's west side left 1 man dead, 1 man in the hospital, and 1 man in jail. Tonight we're learning more about what happened by one of the people involved. 13 News reporter David Iverson joins us live with the latest. Now, David, you talked with the man in the hospital, and what spurred on this violence?
Well, Scott, if you can believe it, all this over a woman. Again, 1 person dead, another severely wounded. Tonight we're taking you inside the hospital room of that person who was wounded. He tells us all of this, including that murder, could have been prevented.
I feel pretty sore.
Brady Dunlap is recovering slowly at CAMC in Charleston, recovering from a broken leg, fractured jaw, and broken collarbone, not to mention the freshly stitched wounds in his head. Dunlap took a severe beating Tuesday night with a baseball bat. Police say it was from this man, Ken Carter. Drunk and in a jealous rage, believing his wife had been unfaithful, investigators believe Carter got a baseball bat and beat both Dunlap and his partner, Ron Fortin.
By the time I got up off the couch to see what was going on, he hit Ron in the back of the head.
Dunlap says Carter just kept swinging.
He hit me right here.
Until everything went black.
I think during the time when I was knocked out, he beat Ron to death.
Dunlap awoke to find Carter still in the home. Believing Fortin was sleeping it off, he called an ambulance for himself, but Ron Fortin would never wake up.
Well, you can't wake up if you're dead.
Dunlap will spend a few more days in the hospital and head back home afterwards, never forgetting the time he spent with his friend Ron.
We lived a pretty decent life.
Kenneth Carter is being held on counts of first-degree murder and malicious wounding. That's not all police want him for. He's also got a count of violation of a protective order, and he's being held on violation or having his second driving under the influence charge. He'll have his preliminary hearing for this malicious wounding and first-degree murder charge at the end of July. For now, though, we're live in downtown Charleston. David Iverson, 13 News.
Well, thank you, David, for that report. It was one of the most heinous acts of violence against an elderly victim he had ever seen. That's what Judge Duke Bloom told 2 men before sentencing them to more than 100 years in prison apiece. Shane Peck and Joseph Gibson learned their fate today. Peck told the judge he invaded the homes to get money for drugs, beating 79-year-old Geraldine Gibson during one of those invasions. She died a few months later. Gibson's daughters say they wish their mother could have been here to see the sentencing.
Oh, I can tell you. Look at me, boys. Look at me. That's what she would have said to them. She was a very strong woman when she was here before, and she was a little fighter. But to her, they just look like her grandsons.
Peck turned his back on a video of Gibson in the hospital, so Judge Duke Bloom made a note of that for his parole hearings, which could happen in an estimated 30 years. A pregnant woman has been arrested in connection with a series of break-ins in Charleston. Earlier this week, police released a video from Laidley Tower. Police arrested Mary Mills and charged her with larceny and fraud. She's also being held on a charge from North Carolina for breaking and entering. Now, police say she was spotted outside several homes on Virginia Street over the past week. Well, from newborns to teens, the India Center in Charleston has closed for everyone. The center's annual 3 bags full fall sale is underway. Now, you can find everything from back-to-school clothes to baby clothes. They also have strollers, toys, and other kid-friendly stuff. Best of all, it is open to everyone.
The economy's low right now, and everybody's looking for a deal on nice clothing for their kids to start school, especially this time of year. And people are wanting to sell their items so that they'll have money to go school shopping and help their family get ready for school.
The sale runs from 10 to 7 today and tomorrow, and on Sunday it goes from noon to 5. Well, did you know that there is a beautiful example of stained glass artistry at the federal courthouse in Charleston? Well, Jack Kane shows us in today's edition of You Don't Know Jack.
This beautiful two-story stained glass piece of artwork is not in a museum or in a cathedral or a church. Instead, it's at the Robert C. Byrd Federal Courthouse in downtown Charleston. And Chris Gerrenser is here to tell us a little bit about it right now. Chris, this is a beautiful work of art.
Thank you. We're very proud to have this incorporated into our building. This is a part of GSA's Art and Architecture program, and David Wilson, an artist, was selected to put his artwork in our building. This artwork has a lot of geometric pattern. He studied West Virginia, and he wanted to make sure that the Appalachian culture was represented as well. And David Wilson was selected. Artists from all over the country submitted proposals, and a panel which consisted of our judges and the local art community, they selected his work.
Mm-hmm. This, what's behind us right now spans 2 floors, the 5th and 6th floors, right?
Yes, that is correct. And there's similar artwork on the 1st floor as you walk into the building.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. If you ever have a chance to stop by the federal courthouse in Charleston, be sure you not only look at the stained glass, but the artwork throughout the building if you have the opportunity. Live and local in Charleston, I'm Jack Kane, 13 News.
Hey, it may seem like a festival was a long time ago, but one project that started with the event last month continued today. Another new bike rack was unveiled this morning at the Court Street Overlook. This one is named Bubbles. This brings a number of artistic bike racks in the city to 3. Another bike rack is being developed, and even more are in the planning stages. Hey, while most of us are simply miserable on hot days like these, kids will take any opportunity to play outside. Ahead, we're going to tell you how one hometown school is enjoying the sizzling summer heat. We have some breaking news out of Huntington. Crews are on the scene of a crash on I-64 westbound near 5th Street. We know at least one person is injured in that crash, which involved a pickup truck hitting a barrier. Emergency crews are on the scene, and traffic will be moving very slowly westbound for some time. Stay with 13 News and WOWKTV.com for updates as they become available. A professor and a surgeon at CAMC were honored today in 2 lasting ways. The WVU Charleston Health and Sciences Library dedicated a plaque to honor Dr. James Boland. He was a member of CAMC's medical staff for 34 years. Today, medical students dedicated a bench in his honor.
An endovascular surgery that he was most famous for. He just was a terrific surgeon. So it's his surgery, the outcome for patients, the care of patients, the quality of his work.
Dr. Boland donated a tree to the campus in 2003. The West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals is considered by many to be the most powerful body in the state. And on this week's Decision Makers, host Bray Carey sits down with 2 justices to discuss the court's effect on business in the Mountain State. Now, you can see Decision Makers Sunday mornings at 8 right here on Channel 13. Well, kids just love to play no matter what the temperature might be, and these extreme temps didn't stop the kids at Marshall's Child Development Academy. Teachers made sure every child put on sunscreen before heading out. They also watched to make sure children stay hydrated and had activities in the shade and had some water games. As for the kids, well, they just want to play.
The hot weather?
Well, not if it's too hot.
What about today?
Well, I don't really like it today because it's a little too hot.
Teachers added they did not stay out in the sun too long. They made sure of that. Hey, it's a sizzling summer day across the Kanawha Valley. Our cooler days ahead. Well, Spencer has the latest in your storm tracker forecast, and let's take a look from our weather eye in Charleston, where it looks hot and hazy. Stay with us.